Outer Orange.
Yeah, it's just updated. He just hit a crit, so we know that from the stream right now. But overall, relatively standard play that we see in the early game. And of course, the critical on the defensive side does help the Kairi player, as that means that the earlier turns is going to be a bit more doable, as hitting a crit on turn 2 and having a column that hits for a decent number can be pretty painful, especially once they hit their grade 3 turns, as Tamayura can be very explosive with their 5 turns and their Shiryuki plays. We're going to see that in a second here.
Yeah, honestly, this is actually going to be a really, really close matchup because, honestly, Tamayura gets the same exact aggressive and magic numbers as Kairi can starting the late game turn. And Tamayura, meanwhile, gets the extra 5k front starting one on their next grade 3 turn. So, honestly, it's going to be a pretty close match.
Yeah, because can you explain a little bit about the Friends engine within Kairi? Because I think that's not the standard playstyle for Kairi moving on set 4, if I remember correctly.
It's actually pretty popular. So a lot of people are on the Friends engine because it adds on a little bit of the aggression. They give a lot of power to each other, along with Melty providing you to kind of dig through your deck a little bit deeper. So here we have Casey calling out the grade 2, which enables extra 2k power. It has to be against a grade 3 or greater, but it still adds aggression. And here we have the swing coming in. You'll notice that they're swinging with that rear guard first because Kiora actually enables a bounce along with that.
I believe the booster allows you to check the top card of your deck,
yes,
which is essentially is Oracle Think Tank. So for anybody who might be confused about why he grabs the top card when he attack with the rear guard, it's not a drive check, it's just the Oracle Think Tank effect, the Scryer card, which is really good for trigger filtering.
Yep, it's an insanely solid card. It's actually one of the best cards that Lyrical Set 2 has provided to us, as you can constantly look at top card and look at bottom card and see right there we see a front trigger coming on in, knowing, oh no, that's a draw, my bad, that's a draw trigger. It looks like the front, but that's a draw trigger right there coming in, knowing exactly what's on your top and now attacking for even more pressure with the early Kairi rush.
That said, the 2 damage we just saw the Tamayura play is a bit painful because he lost one of his Direful Dolls for the duel, and he lost the Shiryuki Blitz Order, which are very powerful cards that the engine relies on. But we're going to see if he can manage to do that. Currently, this does look like a weak turn if he just attack with the Vanguard and then swings, but he can call out another Rigger, as we just see, and still manage to generate free attacks without wasting too many cards on hands, which is very nice for what the Tamayura engine can provide.
Honestly, with that dragon over there on the left, the dragon gives 5k to give 5k to the columns. So honestly, he's playing Charawi playing a little bit more conservative here. So we see the heal pop off here as well, which is really good. Playing a little conservative to kind of prepare for like a more aggressive turn. Once the persona and the extra 5k will come out.
Yeah, and we just saw the persona right dry check as well. So he's basically set up for next turn, which is pretty good for Tamayura if he can manage to get the full combo in his soul, which shouldn't be too much of a problem because the Kairi doesn't really retire, which means the grade 2 is going to be saved there. You can easily put it in the soul and prepare for next turn, which is really good for the Tamayura player.
I agree completely. Something that this matchup is actually really tough if you don't play your cards right. I always feel like you need to kind of attack into the grade 2s that go into soul, because if you don't, they'll just go into soul anyway with the guards, which will cost you essentially giving them resources.
Yeah, that's the main trick about the deck. Like, if you go full face, you basically give them free value. And going for Rigard might sound a bit counterintuitive, but by removing the access for the Tamayura player, that means you can basically guard for a lot of value that they cannot generate with those multi-attacks. Luckily, the effect does work from a hand, so they have options, and they can allow, if I remember correctly, they have cards that allow them to put cards from the drop zone into the soul, so they do have options, but it's less consistent than just intercepting with your grade 2, which is the ideal situation, of course.
Yep. And here we have the Melty coming in. So Melty is an on place and main phase. You can counterblast, call a card, draw a card off of the skill sets what we have going on here. And now with the Kairi setup, when she attacks, she can actually bounce 2 cards with a Soul Blast cost. So you can reuse those same units. Chances are probably the right side will be bounced here, the side with the Friends unit and the Lepume, mainly because Lepume is a really good setup into the grade 4 turn coming up. But, or maybe not. Maybe he'll go this side. Actually, he's going for the Eileen here. So the Eileen play here to see what the top card's looking like. See if he put on the top or bottom.
And again, we see a card going to bottom, so that tells us there's still a trigger there. But last turn we just saw hitting and draw, so maybe it's gonna happen again.
Maybe. It's probably a normal unit.
Yeah, or maybe an OT. We don't know.
OT is possible. But yeah, the numbers are now pretty high since that grade 2 on the right side. I don't remember her name, but the little devil-looking girl, she is higher now because of all the units being friends right now. So she will be up in power, and just like that, gain some a trigger.
Draw trigger is very nice though. That's exactly what the Tamayura player wants to see. Not only defensive, but an extra draw helps a lot.
I see you grab the friends units. Sorry, Charlie grabbed the friends units here. Swinging in for just 13. Pretty guardable here for that. Looks like that's a 2 to pass.
That's a 2 to pass indeed. So now we're gonna see if those trigger manipulation works. Well, you were right. Those are only normal units.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So Kairi has to survive this upcoming turn because this turn is gonna be pretty lethal if Charlie has all the cards needed. Here's the Persona Right coming in. So there's a 15k passive front that'll be on this, and if Charlie has the order on top of that, this could get even more aggressive. So we'll have to see kind of sort of what's going on here. And funnily enough, you don't really need too many cards to make these numbers hit for big. Like even this little 8k right here, swinging in for I believe 23 total. So
yeah, it's the 23 exactly.
Yep.
Which is really good. Like you don't have to call boosters, so you can save all the cards in hand that you're going to need, which is ideal. And even defensive triggers. Which
that's a Kairi in damage.
That's very painful. So
straight call over.
Interesting. He doesn't go over the full combo, so that tells me he probably doesn't have both direful dolls in the soul.
Yeah, we missed the early part, but I think that's the assumption that the dolls are missing.
Which does hurt the Tamayura player a lot, because he just wasted the Persona Right turn that could have powered 5 units instead of now 4. It's still pretty good, but we do see the Blitz Order there, which is really good for the Tamayura player next turn.
Yeah, this will help minus the 5k.
Yeah.
Or 10k. Was it 10k?
Yeah, it's minus 10k to the front row continuously. So unlike Shirayuki that gives it to units, this is just a minus 10k buff to the front row. So even Kairi with the multi-tack will be hindered by this quite a lot.
Oh yeah, it is a red text ability, where Shirayuki is not a red text ability, something that some people may or may not know. Red text does stay. Oh, that's the over trigger being shown right there with the guard.
Yeah.
No OT in sight for Alex over here.
But that's a very important information he just gave away to his opponent, because now the Tamayura player can comfortably just 2 to pass, or just hard guard no pass without PGs, because he knows the over trigger's out of the game.
Exactly. So, but this Kairi score might be good. Oh, sorry.
I mean, he does ride the grade 4, so that's a really good situation. At least he's gonna put up more offensive than staying on the grade 3.
Yep, and here is another Melty coming in, another counterblast, call a card, and draw a card. A really awesome ability, because Kairi does give 5k to all cards that are placed this turn, specifically. So you'll notice that all these numbers are going to start going up. And I am interested to see if Alex is going to do the full combo here with the Lapamit, because that combo is really neat. Lapamit gets you a 3rd unit to the board on top of Kairi's bounce and call, which can be very lethal as you're applying pressure and numbers on top of that.
Yeah, in most situations, those are numbers that could kill opponent. Although the Tamayura player is still at 3 damage, that can still be lethal if you don't have the right hand size. But because we do know that he has the Blitz Order, that does help quite a lot with defending against all these attacks.
Exactly.
That's essentially 50k shield in this particular situation.
Here it is.
I mean, yeah, there we immediately see drop. This is basically what you want to do. You want to drop it immediately on the first attack to just get a defensive out the way, and then guard extra if you need to be. Which we see with the heal trigger, that I believe this is the one that gets extra shield when a unit double attacks, which doesn't really apply in this particular matchup though.
Yes, but it's still pretty. It's still, you know, a guard, so it's 10k guard, but it's still better than nothing. And I actually didn't realize that Charlie was actually running that heal.
Yeah, so some players in this tournament do run the different variants of the heals. Like I've seen in different variants, either 2-2 split with just a normal heal and one of the crit or re-standers. And I've seen players also run 2-2 splits with both specific heal triggers. Yes. And depending on the format, they can definitely help you a lot, because it's an extra 10k shield value that can definitely help in a game in standard, where the shield value is pretty valuable and hard to combo.
This combo right here. Sorry, I tried to jump. This is the combo. So the best combo you can do on Kairi is you call out the Lapame, you call out the mouse, activate the mouse's skill. It's just counterblast. You take in SDs from your drop and put it into Soul, and then you use the Lapame skill to then recall out either the same unit you just went to Soul or something else onto the board, applying not only the 5k power, but the mouse itself will also get an extra 10k on top of this, which is what we're seeing happen right here. The Kiora that they just called out is actually a grade 2 that says on boost gets an additional 5k, all of which is creating magic numbers on the board. Sorry, that was a lot to digest.
All I can say is that I think the Tamayura player is happy that he played the Blitzor in that situation.
Yeah.
That sounds like pain with those numbers.
And also that Kairi swing is very aggressive. That's a crit trigger.
Crit, so it's even more aggressive now. Now the question is, what was the second check is going to be? Is he going to be like really God Gaming and get the second critical trigger, or is it going to be...
Oh, that's a heal!
Oh, that's also pretty good. Because I believe the Kairi player is now at 4 damage.
Oh, another heal! Oh my gosh!
Back to 3 damage. Okay, this is a big
that is 3 triggers back to back, just like that, stacking. That Tamayura order does not matter anymore.
I mean, and now we can see the value of that grade 1 because he put 2 extra cards to the bottom of the deck, and if he didn't do that in the early turns, he wouldn't have hit those 2 heal triggers in this particular situation.
Oh, exactly.
And like sometimes that grade 1 might feel a bit unsequential if you don't see triggers immediately, but it does more if the longer the game progresses, because as we see here, that grade 1 allowed us to get this whole situation to even happen. Oh yeah, and on top of that, the grade 1 lets you dig through your deck a little bit deeper, which means you're also gaining access to your grade 4 Kairis, on top of also just seeing more of what your deck has essentially. Yeah. Okay, so now we
see another persona. Oh, that is another persona.
I mean, a true Tamayura player will always have a persona right next to her turn.
You know, you're not wrong.
Although, to be fair, even if they don't do anything, they do have like a mini persona right, which is also great to at least put some pressure.
Oh my.
But we do still see the same situation that Tamayura player is breaking a bit, because so far we haven't seen him doing the full combo with the Direful Doll, so that is a bit tricky. Though we do see another Direful Doll, and we soon do see another grade 1 that allows us to search for those particular Direful Dolls. So maybe next turn we can have a powerful turn for Tamayura.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how much more Tamayura can last here, because we're about to see another very aggressive Kairi turn come after this. Yeah, and that double heal like really changed the stakes of this game.
Yeah, because now the Kairi player can easily, comfortably just take 2 extra damage, where if he didn't heal, they had to guard every single attack from this point onward. Even though it's only 3 attacks, it's still like plus 15k on every single attack, which does force quite a few cards from hand to even guard those numbers.
Exactly.
Which is a pretty big shift in the tempo of this game right now.
We'll have to see if there's another order potentially that could be played here to kind of save this.
I mean, if I look at the soul right now, it does feel like the Tamayura player should have enough soul right now, but then it might be wrong here.
Well, there's another friends unit coming out. They're counting the amount of friends units. It'll be specifically the Vanguard with the booster and Lapame and the grade 2 that they just called. Because the other side does not have any friends activity at all.
Because neither of those units have the friend ability, or do you need
to
call a specific card? Oh,
no, they neither of them states if you're in friends. It's only that those are actually, one of them is an Estes support. That grade 3 is an Estes card, and then Eileen is just a generic card that you can just throw into any deck.
Oh, we see a trigger count from the opponent's side, which makes sense because we just saw a few triggers coming down in the first place.
Yep.
And probably this does tell us a bit that the Tamayura player might not have the Blitz order ready if they need to know this information right at the gate.
Well, I mean, it's good information to know here because keep in mind that this turn is a little bit less aggressive since our Kairi player did not call nearly as many cards. Like that side with the mouse is actually a really small column right now. It's swinging for 21, whereas normally it would have been swinging for higher because the mouse's ability is on place. Oh, they're weaving that on top. Ooh.
Ooh, that does tell us something. That's most
Oh,
likely
here's the
a
order.
hero.
Here's
he
the
does
order
have
coming.
Okay.
Yep.
So the second order coming down. The Persona rights come in clutch because they probably gave him the soul that they needed to use its to soul blast those cards.
Yep. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing a similar circumstance come through where we might see the mouse and the Lapame brought back to hand and recalled to then get another column reset. Oh, that is
and
a front
trigger. That's pretty good because it also protects the rear guards to some extent.
Exactly. It does. It does. It gives 10k power. So here we have the bounce. Let's see. Is it going to be the mouse and the Lapame? Let's see. So mouse is being grabbed for the extra... Mouse is really good here because mouse becomes a 28k attacker.
Well, is 20k enough against a 23k Vanguard? Then also minus 10k, by the way, because of the order.
Exactly. So you want to call the mouse to get the 10k back.
Yeah.
So it is the same exact reset here. So we have the Lapame coming out with the mouse, and now the mouse's skill and the Lapame skill will activate once more. We're pretty much redoing what we did last time, where we put something to soul and then we recall out. And by something has to be SDs specifically. So it has to be the grade 2, the grade 1, or the 0, and it cannot be a grade 3 or higher.
And it looks to be like it's the grade 2 in this particular situation.
It is Kiora again, which again has the ability of boosting with the extra 5k when she's boosted. She bets really big in numbers. So it looks like we have a perfect board again, but the Tamayura player did hit a front, which will make these numbers a lot more guardable on top of the minus 10k that you brought up earlier.
So we see the PG coming out for the Vanguard, and he does discard the Twin Doll, which
can be painful.
Is a bit painful. Yeah, it's quite painful because we already saw that he's struggling a bit.
Ooh,
oh, we see another
there's the crit.
Another crit here, which basically negates part of the front trigger, which is not what the Tamayura player wants to see. Okay,
Kairi?
that's not another trigger.
Oh, okay. This feels guardable. The mouse is 20k, but obviously the mouse went down, so I don't think the mouse just barely hits here. And then the big scary one is actually going to be the Kiora column because that one got a lot of stacks.
We see another. He takes another damage. And I think that's a 6, that is a 6 damage. He just couldn't guard anymore, and it was yet another direful doll. So, sadly, that results the end of the game. And honestly, it's a bit painful because we didn't really saw what Tamayura could offer because the opponent sadly couldn't see the direful dolls to facilitate this combo. Yeah, exactly. But that was a very interesting. Honestly, the Tamayura player actually kept up like really well. They really kept going. Like they survived for a very long time, considering that first Kairi turn was pretty aggressive. Yeah, I think this matchup really showcases us the value of that new order. That's basically a Shiryuki that's even stronger than Shiryuki, as it's a passive minus 10k buff. As even though the Tamayura player couldn't really do anything, that order kept the player in the game for multiple turns and to give them potentially a way out to search those cards that he needed to potentially finish. Because if he saw that combo, there was a highly likely chance that he could turn the tide, especially as seen as he already pushed his opponent to 5 damage without relying on any combo. That's that. The double heal did feel very painful. But that's Vanguard. You cannot really do anything. Those situations do happen.
They do. Overall, it was a really good. It was a. Oh yeah, that's right. So I'm reading chat here, but chat did actually Charlie was going undefeated this whole time. That was his first loss today. But so he did really well. I think that last match was a little on the unlucky side. It was honestly, I feel like if the Tamayura player saw just a little bit more dolls, it would have been a completely different game. 5 attacks Tamayura under the 15k front is no joke. Like no joke at all.
Yeah.